Okay, so in this basic skills video, I'm going to be showing you the skill of rubbing in. Rubbing in is where we literally rub a fat, like butter or margarine, into a starch like flour. What it produces is a nice breadcrumb-like consistency, and that's really useful for making things like crumble, pastry, shortbread, all sorts of different products. I'm actually going to be making a crumble with this, so I've got oats in there as well, but it might be, depending on what recipe you're making, it might just be some butter and flour or margarine and flour. So the first thing I'm going to do for rubbing in, I'm going to take this little bit of butter. So I've already weighed all this out. Don't worry that it's got bits of flour and oats on it, that's totally fine. I'm going to use a cutlery knife, so not a sharp knife please, we don't want any cut fingers. And I'm going to cut the butter up into smaller pieces, and that just makes it slightly easier to rub it in. I have of course given my hands a really thorough wash before doing this. So once you've got nice small pieces of butter, you're going to use your fingertips to rub the butter into the flour. Try to keep it to your fingertips. Your fingertips are furthest away from your heart, so they are cooler than the palms of your hands. If you use your palms of your hands a lot, you'll end up with a dough rather than breadcrumbs. So try as best as you can just to use your fingertips for the rubbing in. So I'm going to get straight in and just start breaking down that butter. Mine is just recently out the fridge. It's quite hard, so it'll be a bit more work in this case. And I'm just trying to use my fingertips. Notice while I'm doing it that I'm lifting the mixture up and letting the mixture fall back into the bowl. What that does is it adds a little bit of air to your mixture, so it's a bit lighter. It takes a few minutes to get this done. And what you're looking for is all of the big lumps of fat to be gone, to be rubbed through. You might notice, especially if you're using margarine, that the colour of your flour changes and it goes a bit more yellow. That's totally normal. And you also are looking for a breadcrumb-like consistency. So I'm going to keep going for another minute or so, just using my fingertips to rub the fat through the butter, rub the fat through the flour. And I'm just mixing and lifting as I go. Make sure you get all the bits from the side of the bowl. And I want to make sure that the fat is incorporated evenly throughout the flour and the oats. Okay, it's starting to look a bit like breadcrumbs now. What to do next is give the bowl a little shake on the table. And what that does is it brings any bigger lumps to the top. So I've got a couple of bigger lumps that have risen to the top that I've missed while I've been rubbing in. So just make sure that you rub them through before you move on to the next stage in your recipe. And you can see here that we've ended up with what looks like a nice crumbly breadcrumb mixture. So that is rubbing in. If you ever see rubbing in a recipe, you now know what to do.